Hello and welcome back. Welcome to the last video of the series. In the previous episode I have made some major progress with the whole build, effectively getting it ready for final assembly, and I started doing some light weathering to the wheels, as you can see. As I anticipated previously, I think I will take the opportunity to try out some acrylic weathering effects from AK. As I realized during the process for creating the weathering on the Lancia while using only pigments, I missed some thick and heavy effects that could replicate mud properly, potentially giving an overall credible look. This is even more relevant if your model will be displayed under different lights, and perhaps seen up close, which means that the depth of the effect will be important, as it will catch the eye and be noticed. In this first iteration, I will try to see if any of the two effects I have, dirt and splatter effects, can be used to add some additional layer of mud. The idea would be to add them to the wheels, as the picture I have in mind is quite precise, effectively going one step further from what you have seen done in part 4 of this series of videos. It's important to note that both shrink a bit once dry, but it's evident that AK has added some coarse medium to the paste to allow the consistency to remain a little bit. I am overall satisfied with the color of the first one, as it's probably closer to the type of terrain I want to replicate. On top of that, I also want to make sure that it has even more consistency than its default, so I decide to add some more plaster powder to it before starting to use it, in the hope of making things probably messier, but in the right kind of messier. As suggested earlier, I want to iterate a bit further on the effect already given, and I will try to place the resulting paste around the tire tracks. Having a thick paste in this case will allow me to have as much control as possible on the resulting effect without compromising too much the underlying tire. The downside, as you might have already noticed, is that first, it can dry up pretty quickly, and secondly, it can be difficult to manipulate appropriately. As you might have guessed, this whole process was very time consuming. Now, as I'm approaching the point to get all the remaining parts glued together, the mudguards, or fenders depending on where you live, might need some more weathering that can match the wheels. I will use a mixture of the dirt acrylic effect previously prepared, applied with a toothpick to try to splatter it on a bit, and, once dry, dusting it with a pigment in order to give the matte look that I want. So, here we go. We got to this beautiful point, and we are at the point where I have done some things. And with the things that I have done, I am quite satisfied, specifically because I managed to add this beautiful acrylic mud effect on the wheels. But for as much as it looks okay when looked on the side, much less so when you look it from the top. So what I have tried to experiment on the other side is to try to blend it a little bit more. As you can see, it's less stark the contrast, it like blends a little bit, and I'm gonna try to do the same here. I wanted to see how much this can be done, and I'm gonna show how to do this right now. What I'm gonna do is by using pigments. So here we have essentially Europe Earth, Dark Earth, and Burnt Amber. Burnt Amber is way too brown. It's going to be good for doing effects of rust pigments type of thing. With the other two, this one is too light and the contrast is way too much, so we'll do a little bit of a bit of a mix as seen here. So let's get on with this, and this is basically just pigment, so I won't be doing way too much of that. I got a little bit of this. This is to get it as close as possible to the color that I have here. So I'm gonna try now to do that. And I'm gonna need to water it a little bit more. Try to water it a little bit more so it's as much as possible. I'm gonna do this as a base, and then I'm gonna move on. Always trying to make sure that I'm not getting too much into outside of the grooves. Like I did now. We do want to give this impression of used, has been just now off a field, a muddy field, and it's been taken over. Yes, like this. I want to give that impression of usage. Doing mistakes, I just broke something. Isn't that great? This is why this stuff should have been done off. Well, still off. Talking about whether the wheels should have been weathered before or after gluing them on, it is, as you probably have noticed, a recurring theme. In general, I have noticed that partially weathering a piece while standalone is useful and allows maximum liberty in handling it, but having them in place also allows me to give some additional all-together look, effectively giving me the ability to see the bigger picture. The wheels fell into this category. While the initial effect looked okay, as soon as I put them on, I felt them a bit lacking and bland. Okay, this is good. This is good. So now I'm gonna go a little bit with dark. So this way we should have this one taken off. Happy with the result as I am, I can consider the wheels weathering done, which means we can glue things together. I can't believe it took so long, but somehow all the hard work is paying off. But I know I shouldn't celebrate just yet. There are a few additional things missing, so let's make sure we clear the to-do list. We start with the mudguards, followed by the gear lever, the two brake pedals, yes, these were separate, one for each of the rear wheels, and finally the seat. I decide to attach a chain that would usually be linked to the 3-point hitch system on the back of the tractor. I started by measuring it and cutting it off the right length. Once that was done, I drilled some holes in the back next to the tow hook and started by scratch building something that I could use on the side of the hitch system to try to replicate the original anchor points. I made the unfortunate decision to split the chain in half in the hope of it being easier to work on, but then connecting it back was a major pain in the butt and not something that I would ever try to do again. It's a pity I didn't get to film this step, but it was also very tricky, so I'm happy to have taken the necessary photo evidence and being able to share it with you. Okay, so managed to go through these small details, and now you don't see it anymore, but yeah, that's the type of detail that I added. And other detail here of the chain, and I will need to weather this, add this bit and this bit to it. I think that's done, after which I can start working on the diorama. For this, let's start with this one, because this won't fit. So the exhaust pipe would have never fit. This seems by design. I will shorten it, drill a small hole and then insert a plastic pin to recreate the connection so I can glue it in place as intended. It's nice and simple adjustment that will allow me to make it look as I want. Towards the end, I will also add some extra matte coat to the exhaust pipe to enhance the burnt effect on it. Also, as a parenthesis, you'll see me wearing finger cots, just something that I'm trying to let the hand breathe a little bit more. They look weird, because really, they are. With the exhaust done, it's time to do a final pass on whatever is missing. The first and most important part is to weather the rear hitch system and the chain, which in the current state is a bit too shiny. As I am approaching in applying some dark steel paint to it, I realize that the chain is way too wiggly and decide to apply some super glue to keep it steady and in place. Not an easy operation overall, but it will pay off as it will allow full maneuverability when painting it. I will then proceed with the usual weathering, closing down with some usual rust enamel wash and dark rust deposit effect. Once I finished adding the last touches with black panel liner to enhance the contours of the dashboard and some other nuts and bolts around the rear of the tractor, I decided to tackle the decals, and oh boy, this was not fun. The decals proved to be, how to say, not great quality, effectively very brittle, as you will see in a bit. Not only that, but I will later notice that the transparent film area is very big and very tough, to the point that even microsole will help flatten that. So, as we learned, the original decals completely fell apart. They were extra brittle, difficult to handle. The the transparent part was running outside. It's massive, to the point that, as you can see in a second, it created some problems in managing the remaining. Let's see if I can get a nice zoom in into that. So as you can see, I managed to place those gauges, but they look a bit weird. I mean, they're fine, but you can see there's a bit of, there you go, then you can see well. Of course, the problem currently is that we do not have the front logo. So what's happening is that I decided to print it. I remade by hand the Ferguson logo, tracing it, vector tracing it, and ended up printing it on, this is decal paper, it's white decal paper. I don't have a white toner printer, like a ghost printer or stuff like that. I don't care. This, I think, should serve enough. I'm gonna cut it off the right size. I have the different sizes. I took the size of how big the logo should sit at, which is roughly 3.5 mils, and try to reproduce here. So the smallest one here actually falls into the actual size that I want, as you can see. So I will proceed then. So enjoy. Let's start by cutting stuff. I also had I wrote this, I printed this, the name of the, because I thought that once I get the model on his own display, we're gonna see how we're gonna do the display. As you probably can see, there's some stuff here waiting to be used, some cool little diorama stuff. This is waiting to be used. Anyway, I'm too excited, getting ahead of myself. God damn it. So let's start to cut things. And let's do it by chopping off the top part of this. This way I can also reuse it for the future. Smaller size, but okay. To be totally frank with you, there's one thing I wanted to point out: the quality of the print. I have like a, I think it's a 600 dpi printer. Is a lead printer from Brother. It's quite good, and I think it's due to the way I set up the print. In reality, I don't want to overdo it nor do something crazy, but let's see if I can zoom in a little bit more. This is how it looks. See if I can zoom it. Yeah, for sure, the bigger one. This is 5 mil. The top right is 3. It increases of 0.5 mil each. Up that the bigger one, but if you look here, it's extra sharp. So probably the only difference here is that I didn't use a full black. I tried to do some slight color corrections and use gray as the color for the feel. Didn't play well, but what can I do? I also printed more than one, so I can be sure that I have enough. And one of the things I'm gonna do here is also apply the decal film, which I have no idea where I have put it.
A few moments later.
That's fine. Let's try without, and then we see. bigger one actually works better. So I'm gonna do an experimento with a bigger one. So, and this is the beauty of having more than one available. Perfect size. Well, this was quite a journey, and I hope you enjoyed. And if you did, I hope you did click like and subscribe. Feel free to leave any comments if you'd like to see anything different in the future. I'm already planning the next installation and working on how to put together a small diorama for this tractor. In the meantime, ciao! Super nice. Nice. And this completes it.